8 ways that I have softened myself over time. Hello, welcome. If you are new here, then my name is Anna. And if you are not new here, then you know that this topic is a pretty popular one on my channel. So today I'm just going to bring to you 8 ways that I have personally softened myself to become a more feminine woman over time. And this is all kind of happened within probably the past few years, and some of them are even more recent than that. So let's just get into it. The first one is androgynous outfits. Now, I've always considered myself to be a pretty feminine woman as far as the way that I dressed and just kind of the societal norms of what a woman would look like. And so I've kind of always been, put into that category. But something that I found that I was really influenced by was the way that I dressed as far as, being influenced as far as like street style. So there are a lot of influencers out there. I can think of one in particular would be like Haley Baldwin or Haley Bieber. You may know her, and she's a huge influence in the street style area, and she wears a lot of androgynous outfits. And it just means that she wears a lot of, I guess, more masculine clothing, baggy top, baggy bottom. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just something that I realized really didn't make me feel feminine. It didn't make me feel beautiful. And I was just kind of doing it because that is what the trend was. And so I really nailed down what my feminine style was and what made me feel beautiful and modest. And that really pushed me more toward a lot more dresses, skirts, um, more delicate fabrics and more delicate prints like florals and things like that. So, the second way that I have softened myself over time is no longer cursing. And believe it or not, this one was hard for me. It was hard, it was a really hard habit for me to break because it was just something that I had normalized as a part of my everyday language. And I really, really wanted to just stop. I did not like the way that it made me appear. I did not like the way that it kind of got to the point where I even started to notice it myself. So it's really something that I wanted to do away with. And it's something that I've had to work toward to not use vulgar language and to be able to handle myself and my speech in a lot more elegant way. So, the third way that I have softened myself, and this kind of goes with the whole speech thing, is just slowing down whenever I'm talking. And sometimes this can be hard, especially if I get excited about something. And also something that a characteristic of mine is usually just to kind of vomit how I'm feeling or vomit things to people, like just kind of whatever's in going on in my head. Sometimes I'll just say it, and I'll just say it out loud, and I'm like, did I just say that? And some people used to say that they really liked that aspect of me because I was brutally honest. But a lot of times I realized that my brutal honesty really just came off extremely harsh, and I wasn't being considerate of how it was going to affect the other person and how it was going to affect our relationship in the long run. So I really try hard now to process what I'm thinking, process what I'm trying to say or going to say. And then before I say something, now I try to think about how that's going to make the other person feel in the long run. And I'm not perfect at it, but it's definitely something that I'm trying to stay conscious about. So, the next thing is the types of exercises that I do. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with working out however you want to work out, whatever makes you personally feel your best, I say go for that, do that. But for me and my body, after I had my daughter, I had a lot of SI joint pain. And it caused me to, I actually had to go through several months of physical therapy to heal it. And it's still something that bothers me every once in a while. And now I look back on it and I see it as such a blessing because now I have to do a lot more gentle workouts like Pilates and lighter weight workouts. And I'm just so glad that I'm honestly just so glad. Like I feel blessed to have had that injury because it's really shown me that I can be more gentle with my body and still get a great workout in, and I don't have to feel that pressure of, you know, being, that woman with the six pack abs or extremely muscular. I used to kind of idolize that body type, and now I have really embraced my full feminine potential of being, I can be toned and fit, but also be soft and curvy, and that's okay too. So, the next thing that I have done to soften myself is to allow my husband to take care of me. Now, in this world, I feel like, a lot of women want to equally contribute, which I think we should in some way. If you want to financially, that's great. But I personally feel my most feminine self when I allow my husband to be the full provider for us. And I think that it also makes him feel just so valuable and so important. And just allowing him to do that, to be allowing myself to be more of a receiver. And, if you're not married, then you can also be a receiver in so many different ways. There are, when someone, for instance, like if you go out to eat or go to coffee with someone or whatever it may be, and they're like, hey, let me pay for that, just say thank you and be on the receiving end. I personally think it's such a beautiful feminine quality to just be like, you know what, thank you so much, and just get comfortable with accepting things from people. So, the next way that I've softened myself is to prioritize rest whenever it is needed. I have recently been sick, and so just slowing down and saying, you know what, I really need to rest. I really need to, finish making lunch for the kids and take a break. And I just go and lay on the couch or read a book or whatever that may be to recover. I think that that is so important when it comes to softening yourself. Speaking of being soft, the next thing I want to talk about is emotions. Now, emotions are something that it's fairly recent that I came to really embrace my emotions as a woman. And I used to have such a hard heart, and I used to pride myself on that hardened heart. And that has changed a lot. After the Lord saved me, He really worked on my hardened heart to where I could be more empathetic with people and feel emotions like I never had before. I made a video about this, but I used to just not be able to connect with people. And I I feel like that is just the way of the world sometimes, is just being so into like what's going on in your own life, or just not being able to open your heart to other people and what's going on in their life. And so, like I said, I just used to have the most hard heart, and when people would tell me things that were going on in their life, I could not connect. and I just really didn't care about how they felt. And now that is something that has completely changed when people can tell me the most simple things and I just immediately start crying when I it's funny because my husband kind of laughs at me, but even when we're at church and someone is being baptized, I really try to hold back my tears every time, and every time without fail I always cry, and I just I don't know, I can't help it. And I love that new aspect of being softer and just embracing that, and I thank God that he has worked on me in that area and I'm able to express that now. And then the last thing that I have done to soften myself is to, if I find myself judgmental toward a person, if I see that I am thinking, I don't know, if I'm just being judgmental, when you're kind of in that headspace of you're just being judgmental, you just are. If I find myself getting to that point, then I start to pray for that person. And that has helped me a lot. And also, if I find myself being jealous of other women, that is just, it's so common to get into that space of seeing another beautiful woman or seeing someone have something that you don't have and just feeling that jealousy. I turn have been turning to prayer in that moment and just being like, Lord, I just pray that you soften my heart to these people and help me to not feel that way. Help me to see that person as a sister and someone that I can love, and just not feel so hardened toward that person, because I do think that that's something that we all experience, and it's really not a beautiful feminine quality. So, as far as the premise of this is really just some practical ways. These are kind of everyday ways that I have softened myself to become more feminine over time. And if you're looking for something that is a little bit more in depth and a little bit more of a biblical approach with a lot of scripture, I've got two other videos that I will link in the description below. And those have been the two most popular on my channel. So I think that everybody really loves that topic. We go over, submission to your husband, modesty, the whole thing with scripture to back it up. And so if you're looking for something a little bit more in depth, then I will link those below and you can watch them after this video. Comment below also and tell me some things that you used to do that you don't do now, and that things that make you feel softer. Would love to open some discussion in the comment section below so we can help build each other up as godly women. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.